Thank you. I would like to thank guys again the organizer and to congratulate them because I mean this GIS valve was for me a great event. So when femoral access is not 100% safe in TAVI, then we will try to visit alternative accesses for TAVI, and this is my conflict of interest. And I think that today we already have visited a lot the different accesses, and I really enjoyed the case reports regarding continuous to repair the femoral and the iliac, and also to go back to the axillary. In Pompidou, in fact, we started to think very strongly about alternative, not only because of the complication, but also because we have a very strong surgery group, and the collaboration is very strong. I think this is very important. And so, in fact, I initiated the carotid approach, thanks of my friend Thomas Modine, who came in Pompidou in 2014. And we consider that it was now. Why? In fact, when you look at the AHA recommendation, in fact, they tell that, in fact, in terms of intermediate surgical risk, when you have such vascular access, which is a problem, I mean the femoral, then we should go back to surgery alternative. To replace surgical replacement. And in fact, it was the same with Europe. So we consider that it was time for us to think about the alternative very seriously, not saying that in fact carotid may bring more stroke than femoral and so on. So in fact, when we look at the publication, there was not so much partner 2 with non-femoral TAVI, transthoracic TAVI. And in fact, it was shown that TAVI is not inferior to severe in intermediate risk through transfemoral access, because it might be superior to surgery, but through transthoracic access, it was supposed to be inferior. So, but what about non-femoral, non-transthoracic approach, that is subclavian carotid approach? So which we called non-femoral peripheral vascular TAVI. So might it offer similar outcome to femoral access? So in fact, the access selection is definitely critical, starting with the clinical examination. The angio-CT scanner, I will go very fast because it has been very well presented, which tell us the amount of calcification from the aorta, the aortic root, and the ilio until the femoral. And then the details of the amount of circular calcification, and also the minimal diameter. So where we should not go. And at least if it's not enough, we still have the angiogram, which can refrain us from bad choices. So this, I think, had been shown partially today by your colleague. So it's interesting to see that going from the United Kingdom to STS, ACC, European Registry, and so on, we see that the transthoracic are really declining, and then there was also an increase in the femoral. Why? Because in fact the industry was doing good job and reducing the size of the big device, offering access when there was no access with the 25 French in the past. So this interesting comparison of Biasco showing in fact different approaches, and as you can see, Transcaval shows 100% procedural success, 8% mortality at 30 days, and 12% major life-threatening bleeding. I would not, somebody already told, why do we do something simple when we can make it complex? And to my concern, we are in charge of our patient, and I think there are better options than Transcaval. it's true that trans-aortic, transapical, and trans have not been very much successful, which is in fact not complex. I think for the transapical, there is maybe a bias of recruitment. So I don't tell that because I defend Tendyne this morning, but we will see whether the Tendyne approach will reverse the bad view of transapical. And then we will speak later on transaxillary and transcarotid. So this slide is very interesting because it shows that life-threatening bleeding, we have here in fact the transcaval and transfemoral do the best job, whereas in terms of stroke, there is not so much bigger stroke with transcarotid and transsubclavian. Let's go to the subclavian access. It has been already shown very nicely this morning, and I just wanted to mention the fact that it is, for us, it is not a usual access, especially by surgery for the subclavian because of the proximity of the lung and so on. But in fact, in the literature and also in today, we showed a percutaneous approach, which is in fact very smart. And I remember a patient who had got radiation on the neck and who had no more access to the femoral, and we went through the transaxillary very smoothly, and it was a good success. So carotid access is our preferred, so I will spend a little more time on it. For us, it's great because it's very close. It's 7 to 10 centimeters, so the route is shorter and safer. And there is no the carotid is free, in fact. In contrast, when the radiologists tell you the carotid is very tortuous, you take the carotid, it's very nicely go up, and there is no tortuosity rigid in contrast to the iliofemoral. So, just, yes, Thomas Modin, a pioneer in this area. It's nice to mention it. I think we have no time to show you this video. So let's go to the work that we did with the France TAVI registry, which is around 20,000 patients enrolled at that time, to think about the fact whether carotid or subclavian may be as good as femoral, and this was involving 50 centers. So the method was a propensity matching based on 18 pre-procedural variables, exclusive of vascular access anatomy, and 30 days outcome of TAVR performed through non-femoral peripheral access. And so in terms of operative mortality, STEMI and stroke, no difference. In terms of annulus rupture, aortic dissection, and whatever, except vascular complication, there was no difference. No difference. So, which means that, in fact, the only one element was that the transfemoral group, selected by propensity score, had much more vascular complication than the carotid or the subclavian. So, impact on approach of survival, no difference, I would say, in 30 days. So this was the limit. So we do not know whether one or other strategy was better in terms of long-term survival. So transcaval approach, I will go fast. In fact, there are not very many groups, and there is a big series, the series of Greenbaum, which with 100 patients, and a very short hospital stay, which is quite frightening, for 4 days, plus or minus 12. And there is a 30-day mortality, and there is a bleeding of 6%, which is not that much in this group. So just this cartoon to show we started with the transfemoral. Transfemoral will remain the gold standard. And then we consider that transcarotid and transaxillary as really very light invasive. I did a lot of carotid surgery on mice, rabbits, and even pigs, and I never killed any animal. So I consider that I could do it. And I think for the surgeon, it's very nice to have this very safe and fast way to operate. Then I would say that direct aortic and transapical and transcaval are really more invasive. So I would like to finish with this nice algorithm. So if femoral access possible, then go to femoral. If not, then think about the carotid. It's not myself, it is Perrin from the Frontier in Cardiology Vascular Medicine. If transcarotid access is not possible, then think about the transsubclavian access. And then if it is not possible, then we are going to less than 1%. Then think about, it is too small for me to read, but for whatever you want to do. But at this case, for me, those patients do not really exist, in fact. So I would consider that with the peripheral non-femoral approach, we have plenty of place for safely perform TAVI in our patient. Thank you very much.